Ahoy there, I'm Captain Chris. I'm not a real captain, but in this video I'm going to give you 20 tips and hacks in case you're thinking of taking a cruise holiday on this ship, the Sky Princess. And these tips will mostly be relevant for the other 5 of Princess's Royal class ships: the Discovery Princess, the Enchanted Princess, the Majestic Princess, the Regal Princess and the Royal Princess. But it is the Sky Princess that I'm talking about specifically. And I've got a great tip for anyone who likes free alcohol, so stay tuned if you do. So tip number 1 is about this thing, which is the Princess Medallion, and it's a really cool feature of Princess cruises. You carry it with you at all times and you use it to pay for your drinks, check into the restaurants, all sorts of things. And you use it when you leave and re-enter the ship, and it unlocks your cabin door as you approach it. Now, I wore mine round my neck while my wife tied hers around her wrist and wore it like a bangle. But you can buy wristbands on board which it can be fitted into, or even a necklace. You can also get these accessories from your favourite online retailers before you leave home, and they'll be cheaper online than aboard. So save yourself a few pounds or dollars by buying in advance, especially if you don't fancy wearing this lanyard all the time. Tip number 2 is to download the Princess Cruises app to your phone as soon as you've booked your holiday. This will enable you to check in online as your holiday gets closer, and you can also book your seats in the restaurants if you want to. You don't have to book your restaurant tables, but you might want to if you like to eat at a particular time, or if you want to eat early in order to leave time to watch the ship's evening entertainment and theatre shows. You can book things on the app once you've paid for your holiday in full, and if you book through a travel agent, there might be a delay between you paying the agent in full and the agent paying Princess. So remember, you can only book things on the app once Princess have received your full payment. Next, let's go through the procedures for the main dining rooms. There are 3 main dining rooms on board called Soleil, Cielo and Estrella. And they're all absolutely huge and they all serve the same menu. Dinner in Soleil, which is on deck 5, is served at 2 fixed dining times of 5:30 and 7:45 p.m. If you book this dining room, you sit at the same table at the same time every evening, but if that's what you want to do, you'll need to book it on the app before you leave home, because we noticed that it was fully booked once we were on board. In Cielo restaurant on deck 6, you can only dine here if you've booked your table, but you can book any time you like from 5:30 to 9:30 p.m. You're not limited to fixed dining times. We found that there were very few slots still available once we were on board, except for the very early or very late ones, so again, book in advance if it matters to you. Another thing worth knowing about Cielo restaurant is that although it's on deck 6, strangely, you can't access it from deck 6. You have to start on any deck other than 6 and then walk to the rear of the ship and then take the lift or stairs. Only the rear lifts and stairs can get you to Cielo dining room for some reason. Next up is Estrella restaurant, which is on deck 6. No bookings are taken for Estrella, so it's walk-ins only, but it's worth avoiding the peak hour from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. If you do go at a busy time and find there are no tables available, you'll either have to queue or take a pager which buzzes when they can fit you in. We usually went down at around 6:15 or 6:30 and we got seated straight away every time, but if you prefer to eat a little later, you may need to consider booking a table in Cielo or being prepared to wait in Estrella. In Estrella, dinner is from 5:30 to 9:30 p.m. and they also serve lunch from 12 until 1:30 and breakfast from 7:30 to 9:30 a.m. Next up, I've got some tips about your cabin, and first is to show you that there are some European and US style electrical sockets in the cabins, but no British ones, so we Brits will need an adapter. However, one British style adapter was provided, which was a nice touch, but be careful not to pop it in your suitcase when you go home because they're charged at $25 if you do. For charging your phones and other devices, there are USB sockets in each of the bedside lamps, so you can sit in bed scrolling through your phone whilst charging it up at the same time. It took me a while to notice, but the Do Not Disturb sign is operated on the screen outside your cabin door. Announcements made by the ship's captain and other crew members are not usually projected into the cabins so that you're not disturbed by them. If you do want to hear them, they are broadcast on your cabin TV on a channel called Bridge Cam, so if you'd like to hear them, leave your TV on that channel. There was a lot of useful information given each morning as we sailed into each port, and a commentary of what we were seeing as we passed by. On our cruise, the commentary was provided by a crew member called Kerry, so we called her Commentary Kerry, so put Bridge Cam on early in the morning if you want to hear her. When you're selecting your cabin, you'll have your own set of requirements and budget when choosing the one that's right for you. There's loads of really nice cabins of all different grades, but here's a good tip if you want a balcony cabin. On deck 8 there are some mini suites which are slightly longer rooms, and the balcony cabins above them on deck 9 therefore have space for a longer than normal balcony. Balconies on cruise ships often don't have room for anything much apart from a couple of chairs, but ours had loads of room and we spent some quality time on it watching the world go by. If you want one of these larger balconies, you'll see them on a deck plan, but they're on Dolphin Deck and they're numbers D145 to D222 at the front and D701 to D725 at the back. Your cabin also includes a decent sized fridge, and it's worth knowing that you're allowed to take one bottle of wine or champagne per adult for consumption in your cabin, so you can have a little drink in your room before heading out for the evening. Now remember, I promised you a tip for a bit of free alcohol, and that's still to come, but there's still one more thing to tell you about your cabin, which is this really clever night light under the bedside table. It comes on automatically as you step out of bed, and it will help you to find your way to the bathroom in the night without waking anyone up or tripping over anything along the way. I thought that was really clever. Next up is the entertainment on offer in the very large Princess Theatre, which is at the front of the ship and straddles deck 6 and deck 7. We really enjoyed the theatre shows. There was singing and dancing, a magician and a show called Rock Opera, which I'd really recommend if it's on during your cruise. But if you do like this sort of entertainment, it's worth knowing that you can't book a seat, so you probably need to arrive about 15 minutes before the show starts to make sure you get in. Some seats are reserved for those who've paid the Princess Premier fare, which was an extra $90 per person per day when we went. But those reserved seats are released 5 minutes before the show starts, so if there are no seats available when you arrive, it's worth hanging on to see if you can get one of those released seats. If you are going to book your dining arrangements on the app before you leave home, it's worth knowing that the theatre shows are usually at 8 p.m. and then repeated at 10 p.m. So if you're booking your dinner table for 7 or 7:30, you're not going to make it to the 8 o'clock show, which is why we tended to eat at 6:30. Don't worry about arriving at the theatre really early though, because you are allowed to take drinks in with you, so collect a couple of drinks from one of the bars and drink it as your leisure while you're waiting for the show to start. To the food now, and there's a huge selection of places to eat on Princess cruise ships, many of which are included in your fare and some of which aren't, but whatever level of fare you've paid, a couple of places which are always included in the price are Slice, which cooks fresh pizza, and the Salty Dog Grill, which serves burgers and hot dogs. They're both up on deck 16 by the main swimming pool, and I tried both and the food was delicious. They're both open from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. If you like afternoon tea, you can find all the component parts in the World Fresh Marketplace buffet on deck 16, but if you'd like it to be served to you by a waiter, then afternoon tea is served in Estrella restaurant on deck 6 at 3 p.m. on sea days. We tried that too, and it was delicious and the atmosphere was very relaxed. Another place to eat which comes included in all fares is the International Cafe on deck 5. It's open 24 hours a day and serves lovely little sandwiches, eggs and avo on toast and gorgeous little cakes. I would have gone here a lot more if I wasn't so full up from eating everything else, but we did try it and we loved what we had. So that's the 3 main dining rooms, the buffet, the Salty Dog Grill, Slice Pizza, the International Cafe and afternoon tea in Estrella Restaurant that are all included in everyone's fare, even if you've only paid the lowest, most basic fare called Princess Standard. Standard tea and coffee are available in the buffet, and better quality tea and coffee are made at a number of the ship's bars, but comes at an extra cost for those who've paid the standard fare. If you have paid the standard fare and you fancy a better cup of coffee without having to pay extra for it, it's worth a visit to Cielo Restaurant on Sea Days. On those days, Cielo is open for people to enjoy a quiet space for reading, board games, and there's a book exchange. Tea, coffee and cakes are available at no extra charge, and takeaway cups are available for the drinks. This coffee is much better than the coffee up in the buffet, and we often got one in a takeaway cup and took it up to our cabin and sat and drank it on the balcony. Tip 19 is next, and this is the one about the free alcohol. Before that, can I just quickly ask you to hit the subscribe button and allow notifications. Subscribing doesn't cost you anything, it just means you'll know when I post another video, and it lets me know that you've enjoyed this one, and that means a lot to me, so please subscribe. Thank you. So a tradition on Princess cruises is what's known as the Captain's Champagne Pyramid. Once on each cruise, the waiters stack up over 700 champagne glasses into a pyramid shape, and then the captain, the real captain, not this captain, pours champagne into the top one, which overflows down and fills all the others. When we went, there was a newlywed couple who were invited to help out too. At this event, glasses of champagne are given away free, and you can get a few of these if you want to, so don't miss out on a bit of free champagne. Now, I've mentioned the different fares you can pay on a Princess cruise: Standard, Plus and Premier, so you might be wondering how much extra these fares are and what exactly you get for your money. Well, depending on which fare you pay, you might be able to try different restaurants, or get a drinks package, or choose the speciality coffee, or get seats saved for the theatre shows, or get free room service or fitness classes. And there's one change to the rules that came in recently which is really desirable, especially if you're a lover of good food. If that's something that would interest you, I've made another video all about the different fares, and the link to that is appearing down here, so I'll see you over there next, and until I do, thanks for watching.